East Berlin, 1983. The rain fell like needles against the cobblestones. In a cold room above a bakery, Alexei stared at the amber glow of a terminal. In his hand, a microdrive, the crown jewels of the Syndicate's deep cover network. He had spent 5 years inside the ministry, wearing a mask of perfect loyalty. But the names on the drive, ministers, generals, politicians, made him realize the rot had spread to the very top. There was no going back. Suddenly, the hum of the terminal was broken. A heavy click echoed from the staircase below. Footsteps, deliberate, quiet. Too quiet for the local police. The Syndicate's cleanup crew had arrived. Alexei didn't hesitate. He grabbed the microdrive, killed the terminal, and slid the heavy mahogany desk across the door. It would buy him 30 seconds, maybe less. He rushed to the back window. The drop into the dark alleyway was 10 meters, but the cold wind offered no alternative. Behind him, the wood of the door began to splinter. Alexei leaped, landing heavily in a pile of discarded crates. Pain flared through his ankle, but the adrenaline drowned it. Above him, a flashlight beam cut through the window, searching the dark. He scrambled to his feet and ran, keeping close to the wet brick walls. Every shadow looked like an assassin, every sound like a gunshot. The city was a maze, and he was the prey. At the corner of Karl Marx Alley, a black sedan sat with its engine idling. The door swung open, revealing the cold, sharp gaze of Sarah, his CIA handler. "Get in," she whispered, before the streets locked down. The sedan tore through the wet streets, headlights turned off to avoid detection. Behind them, the wails of emergency sirens began to fill the night. The breach had been noticed. Sarah looked at Alexei in the rearview mirror. "Do you have it?" she asked. Alexei patted his chest pocket, feeling the cold metal of the drive. "I have the entire network," he replied. They arrived at an unmarked warehouse in West Berlin. Below the concrete floor lay an old air raid bunker, converted into a high-security CIA listening post. The air was thick with the smell of ozone and old paper. Sarah locked the steel door behind them. "If they know you took the drive, they won't stop at the border. They'll burn this entire sector to get it back." She gestured toward a desk. "Let's see if it was worth your life." Alexei placed the microdrive onto the reader. It clicked into place. The machine hummed, and the monitor flickered to life. A loading bar appeared, its green letters slowly crawling across the screen. Decrypting. Sarah poured 2 cups of black coffee. Her hands were steady, but her eyes never left the loading bar. Every second felt like an eternity. If the decryption failed, they were dead ends in a blind alley. Alexei sat down, his head in his hands. The exhaustion was finally catching up. 5 years of paranoia, of double lives, of sleeping with a pistol under his pillow. A sharp chime echoed from the console. Decryption complete. Sarah rushed to the monitor, her breath catching. The names began to scroll. Hundreds of them. Operatives in London, Paris, Washington. "Good God," Sarah whispered. "It's not just a spy ring, it's a parallel government. They have agents in the Pentagon, in the Foreign Office, even the director of..." She stopped, staring at a name. Alexei looked up. "Yes, your own director of intelligence. He was the one who signed the orders. The network was never yours, Sarah. You were working for them all along." The implications crashed down like an avalanche. If the director was dirty, the Safehouse wasn't safe. The escape route was compromised. They had walked straight into a trap. Suddenly, the mainframe cooling fans began to whine and die. The lights cut out, plunging the bunker into complete suffocating darkness. The main power line had been severed from the outside. Red emergency lights flickered on, casting blood-like shadows across the concrete. A loud thud vibrated through the blast door. They were trying to blow the hinges. Sarah drew her service pistol, her training kicking in. She kicked over the heavy steel desk, creating a makeshift barricade. "Alexei, get behind me and keep that microdrive safe." The door blew inward in a cloud of plaster and steel fragments. Through the smoke, figures clad in black tactical gear and gas masks advanced, their submachine guns spitting silent, deadly fire. Sarah fired back, her shots finding their marks in the narrow corridor. But there were too many of them. "We can't hold them here," she yelled over the deafening gunshots. "There's an old sewer escape behind the main frame." Alexei squeezed behind the hot mainframe racks, finding the rusty iron hatch. With a desperate heave, he wrenched it open. A foul, cold draft hit his face. It was their only way out. They tumbled down into the dark, slimy waters of the West Berlin sewer system. Behind them, the blast of a grenade shook the pipes, sealing the hatch and blocking their pursuers. They walked for hours in the dark, cold tunnels, guided only by the dim beam of Sarah's tactical penlight. Finally, they climbed a rusty ladder and emerged into the freezing fog of the French sector. Sarah sat on the curb, her head spinning. The CIA, the KGB, the Syndicate, the lines had blurred into a single massive shadow. Who do we send this to now, Alexei? There is no one left to trust. Alexei pulled the microdrive from his pocket. The amber casing was scratched, but intact. We don't send it to the governments, he said quietly. We broadcast it. We leak it to every press agency in the world. We give the truth to the people. The Defector had exposed the network. The names were out, the Syndicate exposed. But as the sun began to rise over Berlin, Alexei knew the shadows would never stop hunting them. The Cold